Hello, my name is Daniel Downing, and this is my instrument flight scenario presentation for Aviation 320 at Liberty University. So to set our scenario up a little bit, I'm a private pilot with an instrument rating, making a trip on a Saturday night after spending Friday evening and Saturday afternoon at a friend's wedding. I've logged over 1,600 hours, most of which has been for personal family flying. About a third of my time has been logged at night. I fly VFR whenever possible, except at night when I always file an instrument flight plan, regardless of the weather. My actual instrument time is around 25 hours, and I flew in on Friday afternoon in VFR conditions, and my last actual IMC was 8 months ago. Both of those things are really important for the decision that I'll make whether to go or no go. I've also flown one approach to minimums with an instructor, and I strictly adhere to my personal minimums. So looking at the flight plan, we're going to be flying from McMinnville to Crater Lake, Klamath. We're going to be taking off at 18:30 local and landing at 20:30 local. It's a distance of about 244 nautical miles. The flight's going to take about 2 hours. I've planned a altitude of 9,000 MSL, and this is to account for the MEA along Victor 122. We're going to be flying an aircraft. It's going to be a 182 Tango that's equipped with a G1000 and oxygen equipment, but no icing equipment. The G1000 is going to allow us to have better situational awareness. I don't want to fly higher than 9,000 feet because hypoxia is a risk. According to the FAA, hypoxia is a lack of sufficient oxygen in the blood, tissues, and or cells to maintain normal physiological function. So this is another overview of our route of flight, beginning at McMinnville at the top and ending at Crater Lake Klamath at the bottom. This is showing the METARs along the route of flight. As you can see at the top takeoff, we're going to be flying in VFR conditions. However, as we fly south, the weather starts to deteriorate and we quickly encounter marginal VFR the further south that we go. According to the FAA, single pilot resource management is the art of managing all onboard and outside resources available to a pilot before and during a flight to help ensure a safe and successful outcome. The I'm Safe checklist is one process that helps a pilot identify and mitigate physiological hazards at all stages of the flight and is used to assess a pilot's fitness to fly. So looking at some of the factors that could affect us during this flight and using the I'm Safe checklist, illness, there's no illness that'll affect my fitness to fly. Same with medication, there was not any medications that will affect my fitness to fly. There is stress involved with this flight. I'm trying to get home to attend my child's championship game, so there's external pressures for me to get home tonight because the game's in the morning. Alcohol will not affect my fitness to fly. I stopped drinking more than 8 hours ago. Fatigue could also play a factor with the wedding Friday night and also Saturday, and I'm leaving Saturday night. Fatigue could definitely play a role in my ability to make the flight. And then lastly, emotional event from the wedding, and then also the external pressures of trying to get home, like I said. So the next few slides are going to show the terminal aerodrome forecast for the stations that we will be flying by along our route of flight. So the first one, Portland Hillsboro Airport, will be near right after we take off, and the highlighted portion on each of these slides is going to be the time that we would be flying by that station. So we would be flying by this station for the time from 0300 Zulu, and we'd be showing a ceiling overcast at 2000, which is above our night IFR minimum of 1500. The arrow points to the station that this TAF is for, where we will be scheduled to fly over Maulon Sweet Field at 0320 Zulu. The forecast, which is highlighted, is overcast at 800 at this time, and the temperature will be -7 degrees Celsius. So our minimums being IFR at 1500 would show that the ceiling would be much lower than we would be comfortable. If something were to happen, we would have to land at this airport. So according to our flight plan, we would be flying over Rogue Valley at 0400 Zulu. The forecast here is forecast to be broken at 2,500 and overcast at 1,000, with the temperature being -7 degrees Celsius. This points to possible icing conditions, as we've seen at some of the other stations as well. This is also pretty close to my day IFR minimums of 1,000 and my night IFR minimums of 1,500. So once again, crossing over Rogue Valley, if something were to happen and we would try to land there, it'd be very close to my minimums, which I strictly adhere to. Lastly, we'd be arriving at Crater Lake Klamath at 0430 Zulu. As you can see highlighted at the left, the visibility would be scattered at 2,000. This would be transitioning more to the night IFR, which my minimums would be 1,500. But once again, we can see a lot of red, a lot of IFR conditions, a lot of marginal VFR conditions that are forecasted at Crater Lake Klamath. And also possible icing conditions during the descent phase of flight would be a serious concern. All along the route of flight, icing will be a major issue. While the METARs and TAVs show that the ceiling will be above my minimums, there's no telling where the top of the cloud layers will be, and flying in clear air cannot be assured. Icing will be a major concern all along the route of flight. All along the route of flight, icing will be a major concern. While the METARs and TAVs show that the ceiling will be above my minimums, there is no telling where the top of the cloud layers will be. The ceiling will be within my capabilities, however, I'm not proficient in actual IMC, and it has been several months since I operated within actual instrument conditions. While the capabilities of the G1000 will be able to increase my situational awareness, the lack of anti-ice equipment and the weather that is forecast will be a major concern. I would not make this flight and would alternatively choose to drive home that night. It will only be a 4-hour drive, but will be worth it to avoid the possible inclement weather conditions and will assure that I will be able to see my child's championship game tomorrow.